Good morning, everyone. This is Jay with dailytexture.com. I'm sitting here having my coffee and doing art like I normally do early in the morning. And I'm digging through some of my photos from my recent trip to one of our favorite tropical places we go, which, by the way, I don't go to tropical places to lay on the beach and eat out and all that kind of stuff. We rent a house and we cook our own food, and I'm there for the birds. And I wanted to talk in this video about being aware of the lighting that you're shooting in when you're photographing birds. And I always have said my favorite time to shoot is on cloudy days. And a lot of my photography friends won't even leave the house on a cloudy day. They want a sunny day before they go anywhere. But let me tell you, the cloudy day photos are the best if you're an artist and you want to do other things with your photos. They are the best for being able to work with your photos. So for example, take this pelican. I photographed a lot of birds. I had a lot of cloudy days while I was down there, and I was tickled pink with the cloudy days. I absolutely love them. And I was fighting 20-mile-an-hour winds, which is great because then you get a lot of different poses out of the birds while they're flying, a lot of good flying shots. So I photographed pelicans, gulls, ospreys, eagles, egrets, herons, and several other types of birds while I was there. And when I get a bird flying across a gray cloudy sky like this, I am just tickled. Because if the bird comes out clear like this, with the detail pretty good, and there's nothing behind it in the sky, this is so easy for me to do a piece of art with. Now I've opened this texture from the Beyond Wide Open Spaces Beyond Boundaries collection, which was released this month. And this is this set is the final collection in my Wide Open Spaces, and I have done a bunch of these paintings, and they're all in there. And I've done Wide Open Spaces 1, 2, and 3, which are smaller groupings prior to this. But this one is finishing up that entire collection. I just grouped it into one big set. And so there's a wide variety of cool, wide open space backgrounds like this with a really neat sky and a little bit of ground. And they're great for adding in various subjects. And I picked this one for the pelican because it looks like it has a lot of water here, the way this abstract ground level turned out. So I picked this pelican from my recent pictures, and the gray is still a little bit gray. That needs to be brighter to do what I'm going to show you how to do. So what I do is I duplicate that layer. I put it on screen mode. Screen mode, a duplicate layer with screen mode is the quickest way to brighten up a photo for me. It's just boom, boom, it's done. And you could also use exposure or brightness, whatever sliders you have in your program. But screen mode, everybody has that. So duplicate the layer, put it in screen mode, and as you can see, he's pretty bright. So you can pull your slider on the layer for your opacity to where you think it might look okay. You don't want it to be blown out completely and lose all the detail. And I think I had done this one about 40% range. So that's before and that's after. He's still got pretty good detail. And I'm going to merge those two layers to get a new blended layer to work with. And then I'm going to do one more adjustment. I'm going to adjust the clarity on the bird just to sharpen things a little bit. Whatever software you're using may have a clarity adjustment. It may have just a sharpness adjustment. I like to do all that. And see, that just pumped up his detail. That's before, that's after. It pumps up a little bit in those dark areas, and it's just a one-click thing, so I really like that. Just to sharpen things up and darken the darks a little bit get a little more contrast in there, make that bird pop a little bit more. So I am saving that adjustment on that layer. Okay, that's done. Now I want to put my background up behind that layer. So here's the background, here's the bird. I'm going to get on the bird layer, and I'm going to, well, first of all, I'm going to duplicate this layer. And I'm going to shut off the duplicate layer for right now. Okay, now I'm going to get back on that one I adjusted clarity on. I'm going to click multiply. Boom. Excuse me, that bird's already there. Now, if you remember, this is what he looked like before. There's a little bit of difference in the bird because he's on multiply now, but in the background, it darkened the background a little bit. You see look at this background when I turn this off. See how it brightens up? And now it's gone a little darker. That's because of multiply. So once I've done that, then I can further brighten this layer. And in this case, I'm going to go to exposure and just pull up on that slider, and I'm going to turn the bird off and on. I'm trying to look at this background only here just to see, because I want the background colors to stay pretty much the same. That's pretty close, maybe a little bit more. Now when I turn him off and on, you don't see any color difference happening in the background. So his layer is now bright enough. So now, but he's too bright. His layer is bright enough for the background, but the bird is too bright. That's why I did this duplicate layer. When you turn that on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mask over the whole thing. And the quickest way to do that is to, in this program anyway, is to invert. If you're using another software and you select to do a mask on that layer, you just fill that whole layer with black. The whole layer. Or you can paint it. But filling it or doing an invert is quicker. So now, the entire layer of this the entire part of this duplicate layer is now a solid mask. But what I'm going to do is bring back the mask on the bird part only. So when you are masking in other softwares, you paint with black, you bring back with white. So if you watch me here when I do this bird, I'll brush over the bird. In this program, this is black, this is white. So you'll see the bird appear here, the silhouette of the bird in white. So I'm going to do that real quick. And I just use a brush that is big enough to fit inside the bird, brush size I mean. And then as I get to the more smaller areas, I'll reduce the size. So I just want to get the biggest area first, and you can see him starting to appear. I'm going to lower the brush size down a little smaller and get closer to the edges without going over. I can even go on those feathers a little bit and get his beak area. And I'm trying not to go over him, but I may have gone over there. Let's enlarge this a little bit. See, if I go over, you'll be able to see that white line around the beak, like that. You can see that white line. So to fix that, because I had too big of a brush, I just go back the other direction with the black paint. Okay, let's finish out the rest of him with the white. And I'm not going to sit here and fuss with every little individual bit of feather. It's not necessary. I'm just going to get close as I can. Now you can see he's got a pretty good silhouette going on. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit on these feathers. I just had to make the brush size a little smaller to get in there. Now if you're a perfectionist, you could get really tiny brush size and go all the way to the tips. It's not really necessary. Oops. Now see, I got off right there and made white. Let's go back and the other direction to black paint, basically, and put that back. Now let's fit to the screen, and you can see now the pretty well perfect silhouette of the bird. If there's any areas you didn't get, it'll show up in black in the middle. But now, that's before he was blown out a little bit because I brightened that layer. But now his coloring is back where it's supposed to be. So there we go. And he looks, if you turn off both of these, the background looks exactly the same as when I brought it in here. But now it's got this beautiful bird on it. And of course you can do other things from this point and put more textures on top, change the lighting, change the look. Or if you decide you don't like that background, you could go into the collection and pull out a different background. Like that. And you could put various backgrounds behind the bird until you get the look you're really after. Oh, that's kind of dramatic. I kind of like that. That is really dramatic. I like that one. I actually like that one more than the blue one. I'm not real fond of this one with this bird. There's the blue, and there's this one. And the background of my photo are not quite the same size. You can see a little white edge there, so I'll just enlarge that particular background layer just a little to get rid of that edge. So we got this look or this look. And I like both of them, so I could save both of them. Like I could go ahead and save out this one as one file name and then turn that off and save this one as another file name, which I think I will do. Another thing you could do, remember I said you could put another texture on top to change his lighting and stuff. I just duplicated this layer again. I'm going to bring it up top, and I'm going to shut the one underneath him off. So now the blue one is back. But let's say I want to warm that blue one up. I can bring this on top and play with different layer modes with that. And of course multiply is definitely the best in this case. And you just fiddle with the opacity, get it where you want, and then you can duplicate it again and put it on another layer mode like soft light, overlay. Soft light's pretty good, but that's a little too strong. And you could just play with these different opacities on that layer. So that is yet another look for this bird. So let me merge those and save that, and then I'm going to shut those back off and merge the others so I can show you all three in a row. And this takes just a minute, and I'm going to have a sip of coffee while I'm waiting. Alright, there we go. Let me shut that off, shut these two off. Now there's the blue one, so I'm going to go ahead and save that as a merged image. It'll put it on top, so we'll be able to look at all three. Well, it didn't quite put it on top. Put it there. I'm going to move it to the top. Okay, now I'm going to shut off that one, and I'm going to go back down, put this one behind him, which is just him with that new texture behind him, but without the overlays layers. And I'm going to save that one, and we're going to look at all three. See how easy that was? I've been talking 14 minutes. And literally, if I wasn't talking during this, this would have already been done 10 minutes ago. All right. So put these up here. There's the blue one. That's the first one. Let me turn them all on. All right, there's the blue one, first one. There's the second one, where I chose a different background. And there's the third one where I merged the two together. Now that I'm looking at these differences here, that third one looks a little bit dark. But I do like the drama where it brought those warm colors into this blue. So it depends. This is more of a bright sky coastal daytime look. This one is more of a kind of maybe a sunset with the storm coming in look. And this one is a more just moody. So it really depends on the mood you want for the piece you're creating. You know, which background to use, what layers to use on top. But the thing is, you've got this bird already fixed up, so you can basically go underneath the bird layers and drop in any background you want. So I'm not sure on that one without doing more work to this one to maybe brighten it a little. Could do that. Adjust the contrast a little. It's just, you know, personal preference. But let's just look. If we go under the bird again, let's open up something totally different from a different set. Okay, let's look at Autumn Impressions. That's another new set. Let's see what this one looks like. Ooh, that's interesting. Now see, once you get the bird part done, it's really easy to change those backgrounds up. And if you're doing like different avenues of artwork, like you're putting artwork on one site, you're putting something else on another site, you could use this same bird and do different ones for each website or each market you're in or whatever. That one's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. Can we put a pelican in the snow? Wait a minute. Let's go to the winter in the mountains. Can a pelican go to the mountains? Hey, we're the artists. We can put a pelican anywhere we want to. So we got a few mountains with creeks in this set. I like this one, number 26. That's a little bit busy. And notice the white line. I would have to resize that to use that. Obviously, you're not going to find a pelican in the mountains, most likely, and that's a little bit busy, so I would want to soften that if I use something like that. So keep in mind the empty space on the textures or backgrounds you're using. What about if we were to put him on a portrait background? If we just wanted a portrait of a pelican with no particular background. Let's try number 18. And of course it's vertical, so you can rotate the texture layer under him and of course resize it to fit. So if you wanted a portrait kind of thing or wanted to enlarge the bird to fit better the way you want, that might work. What else we've got here? Oh, well, the sea, the Almighty Sea collection, obviously. Because you're going to find a pelican at the sea. And of course, I took the pelican against that gray, whitish gray sky. But there's no reason this pelican can't look beautiful with the sea. Now we got horizontal ones here and we got vertical ones. And since he's already horizontal, I think I'll just stick with a horizontal. So I'm looking for one that has a pretty good amount of sky space. This one, maybe. Oh, yeah, that one's really good. But I notice now that I've pulled this up, and you can see it, I do have still a little bit of a white line around that beak that I could get rid of. And that was coming from that layer. You see the difference? When I put this layer on top and did that mask to bring back the original bird colors, even though I dropped him in multiply over the sea background, even though he's in multiply over it, just like he was over these others, the sea background has a lot more color and a lot more things going on. So those things are showing up in this layer because he's on multiply. But when I brought back his original colors right here and masked those back in, now he looks more normal. But you always need to check, well, I guess your rim light. So let's say I need to fix that. I need to remove that edging So that would be the adding more of that mask back in. And I'm using a pretty small brush. You see, I'm just going to go very carefully down that edge to tone that down, and around that bottom right there. There's still a little bit of brightness there that needs to be removed for this background to work. So while you can drop them into another background super easy, you do have to check your little areas around to make sure with this background they work. There we go. That's better. So now he's better on the sea background. And of course the sea background is got the little edge there, so I need to upsize that just a little bit to get rid of that. So there's yet another one. So we can save that layer too, in case I want to use this image for something. So basically, with one bird on a cloudy sky, I have now gotten several final images that I like and can save and can work with. And so I've got that. I've got, where did I put him? Hang on. I did something. Okay, I've got that one, and I've got this one, and I've got this one, and I've got this one, which is a little bit dark and might need a little brightening. I'm leaning toward that one as being my favorite, but you never know what you might want to use. So if you end up creating something good, just save them all. Save all 4 of them, or save your layered file so you can go back in and pick out which one you want. Anyway, I just wanted to show you how easy it is to work with a bird on a cloudy sky. Now, when I'm shooting that actual picture of the bird flying against that white sky, so the bird doesn't turn out like a black silhouette, I do raise my exposure on my camera. And I usually raise the exposure on the camera to around anywhere from on my camera, 1.7 to 2.3, plus 1.7 or plus 2.3, or somewhere in between there. My camera enables me to do that with just turning a knob. And so I'll just turn the knob, I'll shoot some, I'll turn the knob a little more, I'll shoot some more, I'll turn the knob a little more, shoot some more, and whichever ones comes out the best, that's the ones I use. But it is so easy to take that subject then and infuse it into other creative backgrounds to create new works of art when you're shooting against a clean cloudy sky without, brush or trees behind it or whatever. If you had brush and trees and little bits of that show up, you would probably have to mask that out to get to this stage. And it's really good technique though for really fast work with the birds that are flying in the sky. So don't be afraid of cloudy days. They can, when you're creating art with your photos, they can really be a good friend, like they have been here today. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful and get some good tips out of it that can help you in your journey as a photo artist. Have a great day.